Hey guys, Jeremy Wells here. I was going through my 2,000 plus swings on my V1 system and thought I'd do something a little different today. I went through a lot of my pro swings, and you'll see 40 of them probably by the end of this, as fast as I can. And what I did was I wanted to get a list of things for you guys that just about every player does in their swing. And I narrowed it down to 7 ideas. So Adam Scott, as you know, is a great swinger of the club. It should not be a surprise that he has all of these stock kind of items in his golf swing. So here we go. Number 1, if you look over on the right, this is the only setup thing I chose. If you look at his hips, at his belt buckle, at his belt, it is tilted towards the ground. So his pelvis is inclined, it is tilted. It's not level to the ground. Number 2, on the left, as he gets moving, you're going to see that his trunk, his collarbone, makes a nice turn on the way away from the golf ball. You're going to see it gets to 90 degrees from where it started, and in his case, even past that. So the second item is that these players get at least a 90-degree shoulder turn as a result of their rotation of their hips and their shoulders. Number 3, on the backswing, on the right here. I would say over 90% of players do this one. I think more, but I just don't have the data. And what it is their golf club gets to the top, it's going to either be on plane, which is on this red line, or above that line, which would be even across the line. Guys who are underneath it are kind of few and far between on tour. You would have Ricky Fowler, John Rahm, 2 that come to mind, Jerry Kelly, and sure, there's a handful more, but most guys are going to be on or above the swing plane line at the top of their swing. Number 4, back to the left. If you check out transition of great players, you'll see in almost every single case, and if anybody knows of one that violates this, let me know. I can't think of any off the top of my head. But what you'll see is transition from the backswing to the downswing starting from the ground up. So as Adam Scott is finishing this backswing, if you watch his lead hip, it's actually bumping forward. So he's getting his pressure into his left foot as he's completing his backswing. Now, there's different ways to do it. Some people are more rotational with their lower body. Some people are more lateral or linear with their motion. But what we can't argue is that it starts from the ground up. Number 5, in the early downswing, we'll say at left arm parallel, you're going to see this golf club pointing either at the golf ball or just above the golf ball. So if I draw a line directly up from the ball, to clarify, the butt end of the grip is going to point at or above the ball. In just about every single case, guys who break this mold would be Phil Mickelson, Ricky Fowler, and a small number of other great players. Number 6. At impact. Almost every single player we look at, their hips will be open to where they started, which is a sign that this movement that started from the ground up, though linear, though it gets the pressure forward, it also has a big element of rotation. And finally, through contact, through impact, there's no down the line movement whatsoever. So every one of these swings, and you're going to see some wacky swings, some great swings, some crazy swings, the club is going to exit an arc around to the left, post-contact. The idea of extending down the line, maybe it's a feeling that helps some people, but it does not happen. Okay, so I started early on in my swings, and I went all the way through to some that I just downloaded last week. So in no order at all in terms of player, here we go. From this view, we can check off a couple things on this list. This is Tiger Woods in 2012 at the President's Cup. 1, at least a 90-degree shoulder turn. He knocks that out pretty quick. And 2, starting the downswing from the ground up. Everybody knows Tiger is always lowered into the ground. If you watch his head, it really drops a lot. Well, that's him almost squatting as he initiates this downswing from the ground. So as that club's going back, he's sitting and starting forward with his lower body. On the left, Dustin Johnson. On the right, Jason Day. We'll do Dustin first. This could be one of the biggest shoulder turns you'll ever see. Okay, so that's item number 1. Number 2, if you watch this belt buckle, it's engaging the ground. You can see the lats, you can see the shoulders, and by effect, the arms and the club respond as he sits into the ground and rotates. And this is some pretty serious evidence for having open hips at impact. It looks like his belt buckle is literally facing the target. So I wouldn't recommend trying that one at home, but just unbelievable use of his pivot. Jason Day has one of the more noticeable transitions from the ground. Really solid looking backswing, a lot of width, nice 90 degrees with the shoulder. And if I just put a little mark here next to his hip, whoops, that's about as obvious as it gets. All right, let's keep moving along. Paul Casey, a little wedge shot here on the left. I'll run through the face-on one pretty quick since we've been doing this a few in a row. Big shoulder turn. When you can see the kind of this area between the two shoulder blades, that is definitely a 90-degree shoulder turn. And if you watch his lead hip against that red line, you see a dramatic motion forward from the ground, which catches the upper body, catches the shoulders, catches the arms, and by effect, starts to drag the club down. That's our first look at down the line other than Adam Scott. Oops, don't need that line. Hip-wise, little wedge shot. It's hard to say here with the belt. Hopefully we'll get some better views of guys. As he gets up to the top, you'll see this golf shaft pointing just inside of the ball. He checks that off the list. And as he starts forward from the ground, as you know, you'll see a beautiful shallowing of the club, getting him ready at left arm parallel to point the butt of this grip just outside of the ball. Okay, so really important. My big takeaways from this would be that this movement starting from the ground, the arms respond, and by effect, if you guys have read some stuff out there, you know the forces that are put into the grip as a result are what kick this club head back behind the player and allow it to shallow out in the early downswing, which sets everybody up to go off to the races, open their hips, and exit this club around to the left somewhere. So there's clearly no down the line in this action. All right, this will be a funny one. Thomas Pieters on the left, Ben Hogan on the right. Pieters is about 6'6" or 6'5", just an amazing golf swing. At the top, draw a line down, points inside of the ball. as he gets the left arm parallel, same line, butt of the grip points just at the ball. So he just meets my criteria I just made up. Obviously going to be super open at impact. This guy crushes it. You can see the entire back of his left leg. And let's see where that ball started. So he's pretty good. We'll assume he was aiming there. And you see the club head is arcing well left. All right, young Ben Hogan from the front. Can't tell the shoulders, but I would say they're definitely 90, probably more like 120 degrees closed. I love this view because it shows just how aggressive the lower body can be in transition, to where that when he hits this ball, he's literally so rotated that he can just jump up in the air and thrust everything through. I always like to show people this one when they tell me they just need to swing easy to hit better. Let's see, we got Speith on the right, Michelle Wee on the left. Not the best view of Wee for this. She has a very rigid golf swing, not a lot of leg action on the way back, but just an amazing golf body. You can see how tilted her shoulders are, and you can also see if you put a little mark on her left leg, she's already getting into that as she gets up to the top. So she's already going forward before that club stops moving back. So kind of what you figure out after a while is that the lower body action cuts off the backswing. Jordan Speith, this is from a year or two ago. He's been playing great lately. By lately, I mean his entire life. You'll see this golf club pointing well above the playing line at the top on this swing. And as he starts forward and starts rotating, we'll get a nice view of this shaft having flattened out on the way down. And as we're getting into the ball, we're going to see super open hips, and we're going to see this club wheel well around to the left on the way through. Not quite as left as some of these guys, but you can't argue with that. Definitely exits around to the left as a result of his body's rotation. Charlie Hoffman, one guy who's just been playing great lately. Super solid golf swing. From this angle, we're looking for the amount of turn. Just makes our cut, getting around 90 degrees on the way back, and you'll see a nice lateral and rotational movement here if you keep an eye on the belt buckle. So some guys, there's these pressure boards, these things that measure kind of how your weight's moving, and this would be called getting your pressure onto your lead foot in the early transitional part of the swing. You can see clearly those legs, that weight, that pressure is moving left, and he's rotating his body around very nicely through impact. Here's an old Rory swing, similar to Tiger if you keep an eye on his head in transition. We'll get there in a second. Looks like his shirt's not tucked in. We'll keep an eye on those hips. Okay, so hips are nice and tilted through the swing. That typically matches up with the shoulder tilt as well. And if you just think about your anatomy, that seems pretty functional considering everything's connected by your spine. You will see this golf club pointing just above the plane. Pretty much right on it on this swing. And you'll notice his head is lowering pretty dramatically. And if I show you a swing of his from the front, I'm not sure if I clicked one, but what you'll notice is this is him sitting into the ground and getting ready to rotate. It's a unique lower body action, but it is a lower body action that starts his downswing nonetheless. And again, back to our measurable here, This golf club clearly now points out above the ball. The butt end of the grip points above the ball at left arm parallel. And these guys have started their downswing with their legs and are rotating and have a flat shaft and a club face under control. What that pretty much allows them to do is just be off to the races and go as hard as they want through the ball. And that's something we all want. Got a Sam Snead swing on the left. Not sure if he turns 90 degrees. Let's see. Oh, yep, he just made it. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's Sam Snead for you. Unbelievable amount of rotation. And a really nice rotational motion from the ground to start the downswing. A lot of people really love this action. How could you not? A unique thing Snead did was this is not a pushing off motion from the right foot. This is much more of a sitting and a rotational movement from the ground. So having watched so many of these swings now, hopefully you can kind of see there's different ways to start the downswing from the lower body, but it definitely starts down there. Really cool Hogan swing here. I think it's 13 at Augusta. Not the best camera angle and hard to see the shaft, but I'll just mark it here because I can see it on my screen. And as he starts forward, you'll notice his left leg disappear because he's rotating his hips really hard. And all of a sudden the shaft shows back up just past left arm parallel. And in his case, based on his swing, if you get a good video of it, that's actually not nearly as flat as it gets. In this area, typically the shaft is pointing well above the golf ball. It's just hard to see on certain videos. Pretty obvious his hips are very open at impact, and you can't bring a club around down the line and have it look like that. So just one of the coolest golf swings ever. And one that is easy to get a little obsessed with trying to copy from personal experience to no avail at this point. Sam Snead from the back, huge shoulder turn. He might be violating my rule here. I'm going to go with I'm going to have a bit of an interjection there and say his pants are just so high that they're not on his hips. We could argue that, I guess. As he turns, you know he's making a massive shoulder turn here. That golf club's clearly getting above the plane in terms of where it's pointing. It's definitely not below it. I know this isn't the best camera view, so I kind of take that back, but I would just guess at the top it's not laid off. As he rotates, you'll see that club head kick well behind him. You can see just how much that shaft is flattened, setting him up to just go, go, go. Hips are way open at impact, and he's around. Tiger, Augusta, I don't know, 97, 99, 2000 or something. Super huge turn. Watch this belt buckle. Belt is always a good visual to see what's going on from the ground. You can see those legs flexing, sitting, rotating, and exploding through impact. So hips are definitely super far around before contact, and everything is up and left. Just ridiculous. These things don't just happen out of nowhere. This is a young Tiger swing. I think this was Riviera in '92. Okay, you'll see the golf club pointing up, definitely not flat. You'll see him sit, rotate, and go. Really cool. And if you watch it in full speed, always just had an amazing rhythm and element of finesse with all that power. Same thing from the other side. Narrow stance. Shoulder turn well past 90, clearly starting from the ground. Around and through. So when I see these swings that I teach where the first move is, say, the left shoulder just spins like up in the air because they're trying to rotate, it's not quite correct. All these guys, their left shoulder will stay low, their right shoulder will stay high in early transition. It's a really nice thought for you guys if you want to feel some of this stuff. Let's see, I'll do a couple more here. I don't want to take 5 hours doing this. Annika Sorenstam, probably, I guess she's got to be the best ladies player, or one of the best ladies players of all time, for sure. Kind of breaking my mold here. Looks like the shaft is just laid off heading up to the top. Maybe she's aimed a little left. That surprises me. I didn't know that. But there you go. Heading down to the ball. Butt end of the club is pointed at the ball, not inside of it, so that keeps my track record straight there. You'll see her hips open, and you'll see that club exit around to the left. On the right, you'll see just a nice solid shoulder turn, 90 degrees. If you watch her left hip or just watch her skirt, you'll see her initiate this from the ground. Like so. Open up and bring it around. Alright, and now I'm running a little low on time. Got one character here, Mac O'Grady, who's a great mind, great golf swing. Really hard to get a lot of information out of him. But if we check this swing out, you'll see all 7 of these things I'm talking about. 1, hips are tilted. 2, trunk clearly gets 90 degrees turned pretty early, by the way, but not much more than that. So he's not going to be over swinging, but this is nicely turned. 3, this club's going to be above the plane at the top, right there. 4, on the right, you'll see him transition from the ground up. Very lateral motion in transition with his hips. Not a lot of rotation there early. Definitely don't see this left shoulder shooting up in the air like I was just explaining. 5, this golf club at left arm parallel after nicely shallowing in transition as a response to his lower body action will point above the golf ball. 6, his hips will be open, not as much as some, but you can see the back of this left leg at impact. And finally, the club will clearly exit around to the left of the ball line. Alright, so hopefully having seen this and a couple of wild ones I'll show here at the end, hopefully having seen it, yeah, all these swings are way different. But if we look at some, no matter how many we look at, they all have some very similar qualities. Now, if that club's not above the plane, I don't know what is. And in transition, ironically, this is going to be one of the most shallow clubs we've seen, or flattened clubs on the way down. And also, his hips are going to be as open as about anybody. That's what you have to do when your right elbow is stuck literally behind your back. And it's going to exit nicely around to the left. So, yeah, that's a wild swing, but it checks off all the boxes. And I'm not saying, that's what you got to do to be good, but it checks everything off, and he's one of the best players of all time. Plane line at the top, definitely above it. Just going to kick his lower body in here eventually. There it goes. Let's call this left arm parallel. Club is flattened, pointed outside of the ball, hips are going to be wide open, and he's just gone. I mean, unbelievable for such a lazy, smooth looking swing. It's also extremely violent and aggressive from the ground. Alright, last couple just for fun. Bobby Jones. Hard to see these, I know, but right there. We'll see some tilted hips. We'll see shoulders turning on that same line. Super old school inside takeaway, but as he's getting up to the top, no, not the best camera angle in the world, but I imagine this club is on the vertical side, not on the laid off side. On the right here, you'll see just a huge hip turn. That's old school, obviously leading to a huge shoulder turn. Extremely evident that his hips are rotating to begin this downswing. This is one of those swings where it looks like his back right pocket works towards the target to start in transition. I love that move. If you've never tried it, it allows you to just get some pressure forward early, get that momentum early, and open up as hard as you want through contact. As a result, you'll see this club go from way over there to super shallow and flat in the early downswing. So just an unbelievable athletic motion there. Hips are going to be open at impact, and club's going to exit well around to the left. Looks pretty fun. Walter Hagen. Got his hair greased up, it looks like. Nice big turn here. If you keep an eye on his hips, this is going to be dramatic. Just an amazing lateral shift there off the ground. Cool view here of how he actually has some extensor action. He's going to create more width as he starts forward. And looks like he decided to knock that one down a little bit. So just super cool. A lot of great characteristics even in these swings from so long ago. Finally, can't leave this one out. Miller Barber. Not what I would think of when I think of a classic swing, but we're going to see all of our traits. Tilted hips. We're going to see his trunk getting turned 90 degrees. Voila. We're going to see the club. Let's see, it's got to be at or above the plane. How do we do? I'd say we did okay on that. Unbelievable right elbow action. Above the plane, we're going to see a transition here on the right from the ground up. If you watch that front foot, he's slamming it down before this backswing's finished. Definitely before his arms start moving, his hands start moving forward. We're going to see a golf club on the left that is flat. The butt end of the club will point above the golf ball at left arm parallel from the down the line view. We're going to see him continue to open his hips up all the way through impact. Just barely got it around, but compared to address, definitely more open despite everything going on. And we're going to see a follow through that exits well around to the left as opposed to down the line. So that's kind of what I think of when I think of one of the goofiest looking swings of a great player. And while he's got all this crazy stuff going on, you can put his swing right up next to Thomas Pieters or Adam Scott and see similarities. And I think that's pretty cool. So hope you guys enjoyed that. It was fun going through all this. As a bonus, I'll just let you watch John Daly rip a driver believe it or not, he's got all this stuff in his swing as well. So thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate your time, and hope you picked up something you might be able to go try on your own this weekend. Thank you.